Zoom. Can you zoom in there? Are we in the box stuck here somewhere? Zoom video communication. Ticker symbol ZM. What is happening here? If you were here about 4 years ago, was it 4 years ago roughly? Yes, Zoom became a public traded company. And what's doing? I had the opportunity to buy in at about probably $60, I believe, or could have been more, could have been $100. I'm not exactly sure when. I was told this was a company you should invest in, and to be fair, to start off with, I look like an absolute idiot, pretty much. Absolutely didn't buy in, and it skyrocketed to, I think, nearly $600. Anyway, close to $550 anyway, and it has crashed all the way down to around $90. What's doing? Was this a one-hit wonder, or can it go to 500 again? Well, you need to zoom in, raise a focus, and do some deep analysis into the Zoom universe to see if Zoom video communications can come back to life, or are they just a pastime with everyone going back to work? Wow, Zoom, what's happening? Folks, Zoom is absolutely crashed and burned. I would be very sad if I was one of you that brought over 500 and that was your starting point and it just crashed and crashed and crashed and crashed. The only silver lining there, it depends how much you put on. If you just bought 2 shares and then just keep buying the dip on the way down, you might have just about got yourself back to not necessarily positive, but not too bad a shape, nearly break even. But oh my goodness, if you put in quite a bit of money, woo! So you put 100k in there, it's probably only worth 20k now or something like that if you didn't buy any more. Wow, that was a crash too, a bit like GoPro in the future, in the past. But Zoom Technologies, is it here to stay, this video company here? We'll have a look at Zoom Video Communication Incorporated. Wow, what is Zoom? Hello, I'm talking to you right now. We're on Zoom. Well, not quite, this is YouTube, but you can do a similar thing on YouTube. You can interact with people. You can interact with just one person, or you can interact with heaps of people, 50, 100, depending on what sort of payment you buy. You can use Zoom for free with just one person, but if you want any more, you have to pay the big bucks. But very good for bigger companies and want to have big conferences and talk to everyone at one time, or for uni lecturers if they're not in the classroom. It's very good for all that sort of stuff, and for businesses wanting to talk to CEOs all around the world all at one time. It's a quick way to doing it and very good, and good way to make money. And that's how Zoom makes their money, from people buying into their business plan and buying a year's subscription and using the Zoom product, which gives you opportunity to chat with others all around the world. Now, this ain't no new concept. You can do it with Skype. You can do it with a lot of other. Microsoft Teams is there as well. Facebook have their own. They're all trying to make their mark. But obviously, with the Rona, Zoom communication videos obviously skyrocketed, and the use of it was very big. So was YouTube as well, and anything social media, Netflix, the whole lot, Disney Plus. All this stuff, everybody was at home, not doing much, so they had to entertain themselves. Now, Zoom communication obviously profited with businesses having to go online as well, schools going online, all this sort of stuff, and this is, hey, here's a money-making machine. Now, the growth of Zoom is going to come into question soon, which when we check out the stock analysis on this company. But I think, first of all, we need to look at... So Zoom has a range of products. They have ones for smaller teams of $149 a year, got $199, and you can go up to $200, $300 for big businesses, or even more. So, and that's per client, so they can make some big money just on that. But there's Zoom. Where's the future hold for Zoom? Where does the growth come from? Obviously, getting more people to join in memberships. But where else can Zoom make profit? Now, that is the question, the $1 million question for everyone. That's why it's crashing at the moment. Where is the profit going to come from for Zoom? Where else can they make money? Well, let's have a look at a bit of the backstory here of Zoom to look at why they're trying to make profit. Let's have a look. Eric Young, the CEO of Zoom Video Communications, was convinced that Zoom video was going to be the future of the internet. Eric decided in the mid-90s that it was time to come to the US from China. And this first time he tried to enter the US, he got rejected. And 7 times later, he continued to be rejected because they found him skeptical and thought he was a shady character. And on the 9th try of asking, he finally got to America. In 1997, Eric joined Webeck as a founding engineer, operating in the space of real video collaboration. The company had half a dozen employees. Webeck grew quickly and went public in 2000. .com bubble. Webeck was acquired by Cisco for $3.2 billion at the time. Eric continued to work at Webeck, going up to VP of engineering, and then he realized that Webeck's customers were unhappy with the service. For example, every time users logged on into a Webex conference, it took a long time to get down to business because the company system would first have to identify the version of the product with Microsoft, Apple, Mac or PC. As too many tried to join the conference at one time, Webex would crash, having to start the conference all over again. And you couldn't screen share on a mobile. Eric tried to convince his bosses in 2011 to improve their product, but they wouldn't budge, so he decided to leave. And more than 40 engineers followed Eric to become part of the venture. And there were so many people in the space that he needed someone to be an investor, and former Webex CEO believed enough in him and gave him $3 million of funding. 2 years later, Zoom was launched, raising $6 million, and within less than a year, Zoom had 1 million participants with over 400,000 meetings. So Zoom worked well with even weak internet connections, as the quality of the video is not super high, making it great for customers. But if you want something real high tech, Zoom is not the greatest. And then again, maybe you have to pay the big bucks and it will be better service. So in 2019, Zoom went public at a share price of $36 a share, and the company was valued at $9.2 billion. But Zoom was already making a profit compared to Uber, Lyft, and Pinterest that all came out around the same time. So Zoom was already onto winner before it even went public. By April 2020, when the pandemic was at its ripe, they jumped to 300 million participants from 1 million just 11 months earlier. Woohoo! No wonder you saw the price zoom all the way up to over $500. That is why. Boom! And then just last year in 2021, Zoom announced a $100 million investment fund. It also uses funding. Much of its money comes from Zoom Meetings, Zoom Room, Zoom Phone, Zoom Events, and Zoom United. Let's have a look at what's happening with Zoom right now at the moment. Revenue is expected to be $1.12 billion in the last quarter, Zoom Video Communication said, for July 2022. Just above analysts' projections of $1.11 billion. So a growth of 9% year over year. And the net income is believed to be above what is expected of 92 US cents a share compared to the analysts' 84 cents. So unfortunately, the triple digit numbers there they were seeing in some quarters, now it's just absolutely crashed down to earth, and that's why the stock went bang. With only a 12% increase in sales in the last quarter, Zoom's slowest year to year growth on record. So that's why the price is plummeting. And this is what it's expecting. Not good if you're a shareholder in Zoom. Now, one thing that Zoom has in its favor is the world of remote work is becoming bigger and bigger. And people needing to use video technologies is becoming more and more common. Being able to expand big time using Zoom, they probably need to get a bit more creative and find other ways to produce income. To Zoom go advertising way. Have advertising before you start your Zoom to get some more money. I don't know. This is just stuff that Zoom needs to look at. Let's look at some of their management team, including Chief Marketing Officer Janine Pelos. She's responsible for the company's brand, communications, go-to-market, product marketing, lead marketing, and customer marketing, as well as Zoom's online business. Janine's brought over 15 years of strategic marketing experience to Zoom with an in-depth knowledge of SaaS business models. Prior to joining Zoom, Janine led the worldwide demand generation function for the collaboration business unit at Cisco. So obviously Eric Young used his persuasive tactics to get her over from Cisco, obviously working with her when he was there, or had contacts at Cisco after he left. Interesting enough, in 2020, Janine was named one of the most innovative CMOs, or Chief Marketing Officers, in the world by Business Insight. So having someone like her on board seems like a win-win for Zoom. Anyway, everybody, let's get on to Zoom. Let's get on and look at the stock analysis. Well, the last year has been disastrous if you're a Zoom investor, dropping 70% in the last year. Woohoo! Not good if you're an investor in Zoom, especially if you bought over at that as high as 70% higher. Not good. Obviously, it dropped significantly to 26 billion. Obviously, would have been over 100 billion at one point, so that tells you how far it's dropped. Not good. PE ratio 25, so there's some growth expected for this company, but not super duper growth according to PE ratio. So let's look at the financials here and the revenue. 2019 was 330 million. 2020, the start of 2020, because they do it in January, 622 million. But by January, the start of January 2021, they had boomed into $2 billion range. 2.6 billion to be exact, and then a year later, started 2022 in January, they boomed over $4 billion in revenue. But as you can see, currently they're only looking at maybe 4.2, 4.3 for the year currently. So they obviously have plateaued big time. They haven't gone down, just plateauing a little bit. The net income has been very good, from 7.6 million to 25.3 million. Obviously a big jump in 2020, 672 million, and then doubled again, just about to 1.3 billion by the start of January 2022. But it's expected to lose this year. Well, what does that tell you? It really did skyrocket in a year, didn't it? But if it to drop down a little bit, that is a concern for investors. But so far, not enough for it to drop 70%. Well, cash available was obviously skyrocketed 176.4 million in 2019, start of 2019, then up to 855, start of 2020. Then all of a sudden they went up to 4 billion. Woohoo! Then 5.4 billion. And at the moment they're aiming for about 5.7 billion, but they might be hoping to get to 6 billion. Now, again, this tells you why. Zoom has no long-term debt. Wow. Now, that gets me excited. Now, should I buy? That's another question. Let's check out some more analysis. See, total assets have flown from 1.2 billion within 3 years. Within 3 years, there was nearly 8 billion. Wow. Long-term liabilities has gone up 5 times from 455 million up to 2 billion. The 2 billion in liabilities compared to nearly 8 in total assets. Wow, this company is looking like a good deal to me. This is the sticking point for people at home. Zoom video communications have been diluting you. In 2020, it went up over 100% to $25 million. Then in 2021, it went up to 29 million. So an increase of 17%. And now in 2022, we're looking at around 30 billion shares outstanding. So it has gone up. So they have been diluting you big time. Absolutely, absolutely. But they had to. The way the share prices just went up, they just keep issuing the shares. Everyone's buying and boom, 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 boom. And now, pooh, crash to earth. What should you do here with Zoom? Should you buy? Now the stickling point is, where does the future hold? Now the revenue to double to 8.2 billion, 8.4 billion. How does it get there? On current prediction, you're probably going to be looking at another 10 years. That's probably too slow. Is it possible? Yes, but how many more people are they actually going to get on? No doubtably, they're probably going to drop more. Zoom, obviously. I obviously had a lot of people use it in the Rona situation, but I'm expecting that will drop as well. But can they start getting steady people staying in long term? That is where the money can be made. Now, as an investment, no debt. Really, there wasn't much wrong with Zoom at all, apart from obviously it slowed down growth. Now, it was expected, but they still made some growth. Now, is it going to be long term? That is the question everyone's asking, and that's why it's dropped. Most people are saying probably not. But if you've got no debt, you obviously got an opportunity to grow. What do you do with this company? What would I do if I was looking to invest in this company? Where do I see them making the money? Okay, they are limited in terms of you've got to buy this product, you know. Can they expand in other revenues? Can they maybe come up with their own search engine or something soon? I'm just trying to think of what other avenues they can go. Could Zoom start up their own computer company? I don't know. These are the sort of things that the company must think about, because obviously they're doing well, but Can they find another new product to come out to really just boost them? Because otherwise, I just don't know. I just don't see super duper growth. Now, I think it could be a good investment right now, but is it going to really just skyrocket out of this world again? I seriously doubt it. I think it's pretty safe to say that Zoom, looking with no debt, everything in between, going back to a bit more rosy, it's probably easily $200 to $300 stock. I really do, with no debt. That's the positive. It's just whether or not they can continue to grow their revenue. That is where the problem is. The stickler there is the revenue. That income's actually pretty good, but it's getting that revenue going more higher again. Obviously, they were doing 100% before. It's highly unlikely to happen again, so that might scare a lot of people away. If Zoom can somehow get back to maybe 20%, 25%, they've got a chance for people to start investing again in the hedge funds and everything. Yeah, this is a tough one for me. I think it'd be pretty safe, but there's no dividend in this stock. It's all relying on the capital appreciation. So to me, you assume possibly a buy. Where would I want to buy? Well, I always want to buy low, obviously. But I think the current price, anything under 100, I think you'd be pretty safe and should be able to double your money within a couple of years once we get back to some sort of normalcy. Obviously, the thing for Zoom is, and that's what you got to think about as an investor, because this is not financial advice, is to look at where do you think it will be in the future. Do you think revenue is going to continue to go up and up and up? Is it going to steady and plateau? If it's going to do that, it'll be more of a safe company. Can it continue to grow? That's where you need to look at it, Zoom. If you think it's going to grow, if you think it's going to be expanding again, back to its high, so 500 could be easily on the cards. I'm not convinced it will get there again. But again, no debt. It's something you got to think about with this company. They really do have a big opportunity to do something. Just whether or not they can find their new product or within their current ecosystem to make them more money. That's where to expand the business more. That's obviously where Zoom have to look at. But with a management team, pretty good. Very good marketing team. So they got that. Looks like they've got that pan down there if they can keep Janine Pelos there. So obviously there are some good times ahead for Zoom. Whether or not it's a stock to buy, it's a bit of a on the fence for me. I think it's a safe investment. I think it'd be pretty safe at the moment. Can Zoom disappear? Absolutely, it could disappear. Again, just about every stock I talk about, is there a chance in the metaverse for Zoom to be part of that? It's something to look at. But yeah, for me, Zoom Technology is up to you. You got to do your due diligence and make up your mind if you want to buy into Zoom. Anyway, that's enough from me, Barry Charles. Remember to subscribe to the channel because we need to get more connected as an audience, and also like the button right there, the like button. I know you want to smash it. Absolutely destroy it until it boom. Oh, Zoom Technologies. What? Are we finished? What? Something else has taken over? Don't want that. So right there, smash that like button. Until we meet again, I will set off into the Zoom universe and try and find a way out of this box I've got here on the screen. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time.